Hey everyone, welcome to another Green Dragons Gaming Club Battle Report. Without us, they never feel like winners. Without them, we couldn't look so good. This is another Pretty Boy Bat Rep, and this is round 5 of BattleCry GT. I am on table 3, and I am matched up to play against Mark. Mr. Green Dragons Gaming himself. Literally the guy I play the most in the 9th Age. My own club mate. In the past, we've done a lot of battle reports together of casual games and things like that. So, yeah, this was quite a fortuitous ending to this tournament. We were actually matched up a couple times throughout the tournament, but with late scores coming in and things like that, we've narrowly missed each other, and this is the third time it stuck. It was kind of funny. So yeah, we'll get into this. This is my list. Obviously, if you've been following, you know what it is, but feel free to pause it, look it over. And obviously, Mark has his Kingdom of Equitaine army that I know very well. He knows my list very well. So getting into deployment, it is just the straight like battle line deployment, and then it's breakthrough for the secondary objective. He has just barely on the hill. He has a bolt thrower, a scorpion. He's got a yeoman on the hill. He has a smaller unit of knights aspirant, 6 strong. Then in the middle there, he's got a unit of questing knights, and his battle standard bearer is in that unit. And then the rest of his army here on the other side of the building, he has that big unit of Knights of the Realm, and they have the Banner of the Last Charge. And then in the forest, he has his Grail Knights, and they have the Banner of Speed, so move 9. And his General is in that unit, and I believe his Damsel is in that unit as well. And then sticking towards the back end of the forest is his other bolt thrower. And then he's got 2 more units of yeomen. One is conga line and one is kind of central there. So my deployment, I wanted to funnel him using that building, and also I just wanted to attack and gang up on half his army. So I deployed like this, figuring I would overload. Breakthrough is not really a great scenario for me, so I'm just going to kind of see if I can overload the one side and outnumber them. So I have both my spider units that have scouted up. I have my feral block. Obviously, I'm going 5 wide in this game. I've got Pac-Man behind the hill. I've got a giant, my Wyvern Lord, my goblins, and then my Iron Orcs, which are more central. We went drop for drop a bit, because I wanted to see where his chaff went, and then I ended up dropping everything to go for first. This is the other side of the board. I got a giant in the water, giant in the woods, scrap wagon in the back. So my whole line of reasoning is 1 unit of chaff is all the way on the left side of the board, so that's great. So I don't have to worry about that. I really just have to worry about his 2 units of yeomen over here. Now, Mark's a smart guy, and he also knows me. He moves his yeoman up in the vanguard phase, and we're kind of doing the dance, and he's making sure with those conga lining yeomen that I can't just completely march up and pin him in that corner. And he's also protecting his war machine, so I'm going to have to come up with a different plan there. So anyway, what is this? Oh, so, hold on, let me go back a picture. Alright, so this is how it starts out. So now, the biggest thing is I need to try to win the chaff game. Obviously, if he's dictating the charges, that's really bad for me. So I figure the central unit of yeomen are in charge range of my giant. And I check the ranges. It's a long charge, but I can try to terror check him. His BSB is not over here, so it'd be a one-time roll. If he fails, that's great. If not, my giant likely is going to fail the charge. I'll stumble up a couple inches, which is all I really want to do anyway, because I don't want to move him too close. So failing a charge really doesn't hurt me too much. So I go ahead and declare the charge. He stands and shoots because he passes his terror test, and he actually wounds him. So that was kind of funny. And then getting into the movement phase. This is a little out of order, but so on this side, again, I'm focusing basically the bulk of my army on just the right side and trying to kill those units. And then obviously he's going to try to swing around with these units to support. I'm really just using the giants to kind of keep him honest. You know, if he wants to give me a flank charge, that might not be in his best interest. And then I have the spiders there to help chaff. Plus the one giant can go war machine hunting if I need him to. Let's see. On this side, so he passes his terror test, he stands and shoots, and he does a wound to me. But then I just roll really high. I think I needed a 9, and I rolled it on the dice, which I really didn't want. You know, the good news is I'm thinking, okay, I'll clear this chaff unit. I can overrun, hit his general's unit, and then, you know, I could just try to wail on his general and see if I get lucky. But at this point, I'm thinking I'm probably going to lose that giant, but I'll at least chaff him up in the process, which is never a bad thing. So I start advancing. I move the spiders over. His yeoman obviously can't charge me. I'm thinking that giant's not going to be there, and then the spiders are threatening to go after his war machine or to go then chaff up his Grail Knight. So I'm pretty happy with that. I move the Wyvern over to the other side of the hill. His one bolt thrower will be able to see me, but the other one on the other side is out of range and obviously can't see over the hill. So there's really not much I can do there. Just have to hope the one bolt thrower doesn't kill him. I move the Feral Orcs onto the hill, give them rerolls to their charge ranges, and the Iron Orcs and the Goblins kind of just shuffle around. In Magic, I get Bewitching Glare off, and I get it off on his big unit of Knights of the Realm. So just to kind of give you a visual, that's that unit in the center back. And this basically, he has a choice. He can either take a panic test of -2 leadership, or he can choose to be shaken. I was hoping, you know, that he would just choose to be shaken because then I don't have to worry about that unit. At the same time, if he goes for the panic test, he's only at a leadership 7 with the reroll. There's a 25% chance he fails. And if he does, he's close enough to that backboard edge, he's going to lose the unit. Well, Mark didn't even think about it. He just immediately grabbed the dice and rolled it and passed his panic test. So, hey, big risk there, but it paid off for him. That didn't help me at all. And we go into combat. So the completely unexpected happened. Not only does he do a wound to me, but I only kill one of his yeomen. I win by a charge, and his general's right there, so he holds. So, as bizarre as that was, it actually is perfect for me, because he's 4 wide, he can't reform because he's maximized, and now he's just chaffing up those 2 knight units, and they can't countercharge to kill off my giant. So, really kind of a wonky opening move here. I made a charge, didn't expect to make it, and then I made it, and then the giant whiffed, but kind of really worked in my favor. So, even though he didn't listen to me, this giant might know something I don't. So anyway, that's the way kind of things end up, and then I should be able to kill that yeoman unit on his turn, which means on my turn he gets a free charge somewhere. So, liking how that's looking. So KOE, turn 1, he charges his Knight's Aspirant into my spiders, which I'm honestly fine with. I mean, my Iron Orcs aren't concerned if he wants to overrun or anything like that. He starts to bring his Questing Knights closer in his Yeoman. He's abandoning that Bolt Thrower. He needs to come support his other units. Over here, his Knights of the Realm move up a bit. He moves... Oh, he marched his BSB out of his Questing Knights and moved him over here to support and just let the Questing Knights go on their own. And then he decided to just march his Grail Knights out of the woods, and he's chaffing up my Feral Orcs with his Yeoman. Which, this is not a bad idea at all, because obviously I had some charges set up. I was going to be able to chaff him, all that good stuff. So he's just trying to get them out of a bad situation and making sure that they don't get trapped and penned in. He really doesn't care if my Wyvern Lord charges in, because his character has the Potion of Speed, so he can go first, and he has the item that destroys your opponent's weapon as long as you hit. So he'll completely nerf my character if he goes in. And obviously Pac-Man is not going to do enough to those Grail Knights on his own. So in Magic, he gets Entwining Roots off on my Green Dragon just in case, but I have no intention of sending him in if possible. Going into combat, I kill 3 of the Yeomen. The last guy flees, and then I just choose to sit there. His Knight's Aspirant kill my spiders, and they overrun into the Iron Orcs. So that'll just be a little speed bump there. Orcs and Goblins turn 2. The left giant is going to go do a little War Machine hunting. My Scrap Wagon, which was slow to start, is now starting to finally come up. So you can see my giant is in the Questing Knights. I did not want his Yeoman coming over to start chaffing things. So what I did was I charged the Yeoman with the Central Giant, and they either failed their terror test or they panicked, which was fine. That's exactly what I wanted. I wanted to clear the chaff out. And then I decided, I measured range to the Questing Knights, and I asked him, are they immune to terror? I know they're immune to fear. And he said, no, they're not immune to terror. So I said, great. So I make the redirect test, and it's such a far charge. I needed 11. I didn't war cry or anything. So I'm like, yeah, what the heck? He doesn't have his BSB over there. It's a one-time leadership 8. Let me try and terror check them. So I charge. He passes his leadership test, and then I roll an 11. And my giant gets in, which I really didn't want to happen. I started yelling at my giant about him not listening to me. All my giants are just going rogue this game. I mean, I'll probably kill a couple knights, but those Questing Knights are meant to kill monsters, so I know this guy is probably toast. Unfortunately, in the center here, his Questing Knight, his BSB is pretty tough, but I decided to go in. If I can pick up those points now, that would be a huge help, and he loses rerolls, and then I can overrun into the Knights of the Realm and kind of hold them up while I deal with everything down at the bottom. My Feral Orcs charge the chaff, obviously. My Green Dragon luckily passes his Frenzy test. I fly Pac-Man and him over, and my spiders charge into his Bolt Thrower. So, looking pretty good here. We go into Magic, and I love the Cave Goblin Shaman because of the magic mushrooms. So if you need a spell to go through, you can 5 dice it and then throw the magic mushroom, and it's really hard for your opponent to stop it. And this is one of those moments where I got greedy. I went to push something through, and it finally bit me in the ass. I miscast. I rolled triple 6s, and because it was 5 dice, it's +1, and his head explodes. So I hope it was worth it, buddy. But yeah, this is the the one game he died in. And it was to get Deceptive Glamour off on his BSB, just to try to hedge the odds in my favor a bit that I can kill him. We go into combat, and yeah, what happens is the expected. I kill 2 knights. He goes back. He does 5 wounds to me. The only saving grace is that when I break, he does not catch me. But it brings his questing knight unit closer to my Iron Orcs, which kind of gives him an interesting choice to make on his turn. In the center here, my Feral Orcs clear out his chaff. We had kind of like a little bit of a debate here. I killed his chaff, and then I'm trying to do a combat pivot with them, and I'm just trying to make sure that his Grail Knights obviously can't see me, and I'm trying to kind of put some pressure on them, and I was trying to do it as carefully as I could, but you know, basically how it came out with trying to keep the center and everything was I could stay out of his arc, but in order to stay out of his arc, he would have to stay out of my arc from the angle. So it was just better off, you know, just overrunning and staying out of the arc that way, because he has so much maneuverability. I'm not going to be able to catch him in the position that I am. He'll just either back up or do whatever. So I end up just overrunning. I don't roll high. I roll like a 4, but it's fine. So I kind of end up there. What else do we have? So the Iron Orcs, yeah, kill off the Knight's Aspirant, which is no problem. And they turn to face towards those questing knights, keeping everybody in their front arc. Now, this was the unexpected. I really thought my Giant could take on that BSB. Maybe not kill him, but at least hold him up. And yeah, the Giant doesn't do anything, and he takes a couple wounds from the BSB, and the BSB wins, and then runs him down. So that was really unfortunate. It kind of ends up there. Fortunately, though, the spiders do take out his bolt thrower, so my guy on the green dragon is not worried about getting shot off anymore, and just turned to face. Kingdom of Aquitaine, turn 2. His Knights of the Realm charge my Feral Orcs because the BSB broke the Giant, and that was the thing that was chaffing them up. So that's not going to be good. I don't like taking 16 impact hits to the face. That's going to suck. I'm just hoping, obviously, I'll pop the Rending Banner and do a lot of damage. And I do have my 2 flyers up there who can maybe countercharge. We'll see what happens. Now, down on the bottom, this was an interesting move. He charges the Giant flees. And he flees quite a distance. And now the choice is to go after the Giant, try to catch him, or to go into the Iron Orcs. And he decides to redirect and go into the Iron Orcs, and he sends his BSB in there as well. Now, he's trying to do this to try to pin the Iron Orcs so that, you know, they can't converge on anything in the center. But yeah, we'll see how this works. Iron Orcs are pretty good at killing knights. His yeomen continue to flee, the one solitary guy and the other unit. And, so this is getting into combat now. Nothing of note really happens in Magic. The Iron Orcs go to town. I mean, I go great weapons. My general kills a couple guys, and then, yeah, they just crush. I have the Green Tide banner, and the thing is, I'm hitting them on 3s, I'm winning them on 2s. I rolled above average for my to-hit rolls, but still, it's just a lot of wounds that got through, and yeah, I think I killed the unit, and then the BSB I might have done like 1 wound to, and the BSB flees, runs through the Feral Orcs, takes a DT, takes a wound there. He's still alive, he just kind of fell over, but he's on the hill, so Going into the other combat, though, the Knights of the Realm crush the Feral Orcs. I do take out a few. I kill like 4 or 5 Knights, which is nice, but they break. I do get away, and because I believe he fails to restrain, and he ends up trying to catch him, fails. I pop through his Grail Knights, and now he's kind of stuck like that on the hill. My Iron Orcs are facing the flank, so not good there for the Knights. So on my turn, my Giant kills his Bolt Thrower, which is great because he failed his charge the turn before, so not much going on there. The Iron Orcs charge the Knights of the Realm. He flees to get himself out of dodge, so that was a good move on his part, but then I am able to redirect and go into the Grail Knights, which was the thing he was really trying to avoid. I kill a lot of Grail Knights, obviously. He does manage to hold this round, and you can see my Feral Orcs at the last like 7 guys or so, they rally and just face the flank there. And at this rate, the game is all but over. Just things were kind of going downhill. I'm not sure what this is showing. Oh, I know. So his BSB fails to rally, runs off the board. So that was unlucky. His Knights of the Realm rally here, and I have my Giant rallied on my turn and kind of faced towards them, and then at the end of the game, basically he had this unit of Knights of the Realm left, and he had his Grail Knights. The Iron Orcs finished off the Grail Knights, and then I charged into these Knights with the Scrap Wagon and the Giant, but when the Giant charged, he caused terror, and Mark literally laughed and went, "Look, I'm going to roll an 11," and he rolled an 11, and the Knights just fled off the board. So, this was a brutal game. Unfortunately, it became very lopsided, but it was a 20-0 victory for the Orcs and Goblins. MVPs, the Paladin BSB, I think, did quite well. He took a charge from a Giant and then, killed it on his own, which allowed him to have the opportunity to try and hold up the Iron Orcs and allowed the Knights of the Realm to come in and beat up the Ferals. So that guy definitely did his job, although he ran away at the end. And then for me, I think despite like some of the wonky things that happened and the Giants being quite unruly this game, they really had to be my MVP. That one thing in the beginning with being stuck in the combat with the Yeoman really clogged up the works for the Kingdom of Aquitaine, so that really helped. The Giant like terror checking the Knights of the Realm off the board. The other Giant like taking out the Bolt Thrower. Like they were just causing all sorts of havoc. So hats off to them. What were my kind of takeaways from this game? What could we learn about it? I think, what was helpful this game, even though the dice were really wonky, is I did a lot of moves that I would categorize as low risk, high rewards. So, just going for terror checks or putting Bewitching Glare on and, going maybe for like a longer charge, but knowing that if I failed, it's not going to bother me, and just doing all these different things, even if the odds are not greatly in your favor that'll work out, if you do it enough times throughout the game, 1 or 2 of the moves are going to work out for you. And in this game, it certainly did, and kind of favored me. So I don't know if I'm explaining that very well, but I guess, even if, as long as you are being careful in the sense that you're making a move where you're not going to be at risk of getting countercharged or having anything bad happen to you, you can go for it, like making long charges and things like that. And just over the course of time, your odds are going to increase that something might work out, that your opponent will fail a terror test, or that you'll make a long charge, or you'll do this. So I think that kind of played a little bit of a part in this game. And then I think just in general, I went for an overwhelm tactic again by just overwhelming the flank. And that building really funneled in those couple of knight units, which favored me. And the rest of his army was just too late coming in to support, and I had ways to kind of mitigate that. So I think that was rather helpful also. Um, so this was obviously the end of round 5, end of the tournament, and so I'll kind of just give you what the overall results were for me and my greenskins here. So I did win best in race. There were 2 other Working Goblin players there. I did manage to get that. And then I got best general, which was fantastic. So highest battle points without winning best overall. And there was also something about winning just objectives. I didn't lose the objective all tournament. There was only one game I didn't win the objective where I tied it. But so, I guess paying attention to the objectives was part of the best general thing. But so that was kind of cool. And I actually came in second overall. I was just, I think, 4 or 5 points out from winning everything. But that last game really leapfrogged me up. And so, yeah, very happy, really proud of how the army did. Had a blast. I think an interesting stat was that I had the most battle points in the tournament. I mean, by a long shot. I ended up having 17,473 battle points at the end. Or I'm not sorry, battle points. These should be victory points. I had 17,473 victory points that I earned, which, when you average it out, is about 3,500 points per game. And that average would probably be higher considering the second game I played very timidly. But that kind of just goes to show you the style list I brought. It's a very aggressive list. A lot of target saturation. It's going to bleed points, but it's going to take stuff down with it. And it definitely did that. It was a really fun list to play with. It was competitive. And to me, as an Orc and Goblin player and as your new Orc and Goblin ACS member, it felt like an Orc and Goblin army. It kind of felt truer to the fluff, the play style, everything else. So, yeah, that was the tournament. Thank you, Chris, again. Really fun tournament. Chris made the trophies. He actually painted them and put a varnish on them. It was really nice. It's a very well run tournament. Thank you to all my opponents. And yeah, that's going to be it for this one. The next tournament on the docket is going to be Brawler Bash, which is going to be in Durham, North Carolina. And that's going to be just in a couple weeks. It's going to be the first weekend in June. And that is a little bit of a different tournament. It's 5,000 points. And that one uses the Carnage system, which basically means there's no regular secondary objectives involved. And you don't get anything for preserving points. You only get victory points or points for killing your enemy's units, which, based on this tournament, this list should work fine with just a couple tweaks. So that'll be next on the docket. Trying to get videos out for that. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Hit like, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff. Leave comments below, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.